Hi, Hakan. Hi, Hans. I can see a few people.
Hello, hello, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, okay. Yep, pretty good.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yep. Yes.
Good
Must be
evening
late.
from here.
Yes. Where are you, Hans? I mean, it must be early morning. Eh?
The sun's just coming up. Honolulu.
Well, that's okay.
Hi, Chris.
Ah, Mariano, I couldn't see you. You must be on the second page for me. How are you?
Very well.
Ah, great.
Hi, Chris.
Is that Mai? Ah,
Yeah.
hello. Long
Yes,
time no
long
see.
time no see.
Long time no see. How are you? Well, I'm good,
good.
thank you. It's great to see you.
Me too.
Yeah. So I inform her.
Thank you, Lee. She remembers my birthday every year, and says a Christmas greeting. So I'm
you.
absolutely really pleased. Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Hakan, are we good to go, or are we still waiting for people?
Actually, we can probably start, and I know some of the people also will be with us,
Mm-hmm.
and probably they will join while we are talking. Dear colleagues, dear friends, welcome to sixth webinar of ICOMOS International Cultural Heritage, Underwater Cultural Heritage Committee. And now, I guess, Chris Underwood, who is the president of ICOMOS ICUCH, will speak something. Then, Chris, I guess you will read the biography of our first speaker, isn't it?
I will, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. In the past, I've been saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and that usually covers all the bases. Wherever you are, you're very welcome, and thank you for joining us on the sixth webinar. And here we are, Hakan, we're almost halfway through. Incredible. We've had some fantastic speakers in the past 5, and the two today, what I find absolutely absorbing is that our speaker from Vietnam, Thi Lien, is going to talk about something that's very dear to my heart, and that's really engaging with the public. And later, Mariano is going to be talking about in situ preservation. And what I would say at the beginning is that sometimes you think these things aren't related, but they're absolutely totally related in the sense that we've long since been aware, and I'm not going to spoil Mariano's intro, in saying that in situ preservation is very closely linked to what we do in public engagement. Just to introduce Thi Lien, she was a senior researcher at the Institute of Archaeology between 1985 and 2017. She's currently the senior expert at the IA, that's the Institute of Archaeology, and is executive member of Vietnam Association of Archaeology, VAA. She's a member of ICOMOS ICUCH's Bureau. I'm very happy to have her on board for that. She's editorial board member of SPAFA, the SPAFA Journal, and I can't remember what the acronym is totally, but basically SPAFA is an organization that deals with archaeology and underwater cultural heritage and cultural heritage in the South Asian region. She, following the completion of her MA course in Indian archaeology, and again, that's quite diverse and must be quite different to Vietnam, and ancient history, and that was at the MS University of Baroda in India, and that led to a PhD in Buddhist and Hindu art of southern Vietnam. How fascinating that must be too. She continues to research on Buddhism and Hinduism in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. What else can I say? I'm reading off my phone here. She's involved in southern Vietnam maritime archaeology, archaeology of the naval battlefields, of which I'm quite familiar and had some little input to a year or two ago. She has published widely, including a book on Buddhist and Hindu art in the Kulong River Delta prior to the 10th century AD in Vietnamese, and more than 80 chapters and papers in Vietnamese and English. What a broad background, Lee. Absolutely fascinating. And today you're going to be speaking about, let me just find you on my list here, about the role of local people in the preservation and propagation of underwater cultural heritage in Vietnam. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Okay. So I open the share screen. Oh,
Yes, please.
yeah. Okay. So can you see it now?
Yes, now we see.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah, you have to
come
start the
back.
presentation.
Yeah, hi, good
Yeah.
morning. Just entering, but good morning, Chris.
Yeah.
Good
Dark
morning.
here.
I try.
Yes,
Dory, hi.
yeah.
I try to see where it is now. Oh. Can you see? I don't know where it is.
Or in your first page,
Yeah,
Lee.
if you go to the first page and go to, where does it say, slideshow, you should be
So
able
can
to
you
start.
see? Can you see it in your screen?
Yes, we can,
I op
but you need to start the slideshow. We can see it in a different view.
Oh,
Coach.
I think Lee is not connected right now.
Yeah, we've lost it.
Coach meeting is.
Lee, can you hear us? Ah. Lee, share your screen again. I think you need to do that.
Meeting.
Lee, on the top bar, you have slideshow. Do that. And you need to click on slideshow. On your, Lee, can you hear me?
Yes, I see.
On the top of your screen, just below the upper edge of your presentation, you can see a label saying slideshow. It's the fifth one along, I think. No, the upper line. Go to your right. Yes, what? Up? No, you need to go up. It's at the top. Then keep going, keep going. Yeah, click on that. And then click from first slide. No, I think you need to go back to slideshow. Go to your right. Slideshow. Keep going, right. Click on slideshow, and then the first one from the beginning. Okay, click OK. That's it. Good.
Yeah.
Lee, you need to, I think, now unmute yourself. You need unmute. Hakan, can you do it from your end?
Oh, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Okay, now you can
Okay.
start.
Yeah, so you can see the map of Vietnam with many circles to show the coastline communities who left many things to us. And nowadays we have many cultural heritage, and particularly the underwater with a long coastline and many island, capes, large and small bays, and a number of river systems. So with this circle, you can see the red one, like in the north, is in the Hong River Delta. Several river mouths are open in this area to create a good place for landing and developing of the ancient port and settlement. The same in central Vietnam with very important area in the Thu Bon River Valley, and in South Vietnam in the Dong Nai River Valley, and after that it developed into the development of the Delta, Mekong Delta, with the contribution of Mekong River in this area. So at least from 4,500 to 3,500 years BP, we have many coastal community who leave their cultural heritage for us. So for example, in northern Vietnam, in the what we call Tonkin, Gulf of Tonkin here, we can see many cultural heritage live in the island or the coastal area. For example, in this area, we have the remain of the ancient people from the 5,000 to 3,000 year BP. They use a small artifact microliths like this to exploit the sea food, sea fish, something like that, in what we call Dong Choi site, which is recently discovered. And this area also where we developed the ancient port with the international role in the 11th century. We call Vân Đồn International Port. So this is a very important point to connect the southern people with China and further to the north during the first millennium CE. And around this area in the Iceland, you can see nowadays how the people live on the island and live on the sea like this. And in the old time, they seem to have the same way of living. That's why a lot of remains has been left there with the Kai Bell culture. And also in the river mouth, like here in Chiang Kinh site, we have evidence of the exchange of the material from the prehistoric periods. And also in the metal periods, we have many evidence, for example, the Bose burial with the artifact which show the context and exchange of the people from the China's and also some evidence of southern, Southeast or even South Asian countries. And we think that it may be a very strong community stay here who occupy this area during the first millennium BC. And during the first millennium BC and first millennium AD, Vietnam has been an important node on the maritime trading routes. And you can see the realm of three main cultures in Vietnam that share many cultural heritage with other thanks to the maritime trading network. In the north, we have the Đông Sơn culture in the Hồng River Valley, Mã River Valley, and Ca or Lam River Valley here. So I will show you more evidence for this. And in central Vietnam, in the Cham, later Cham civilization, but earlier in the southern cultural sites, we have many evidence of the contact and trading in this area. And also in the Khánh Hòa, Bình Định, Phú Yên area, in this area, we have a long tradition of trading, which contacts the people of prehistory and also the historic periods to contribute to the formation of Cham civilization, and then later on in Vietnamese Đại Việt periods. And in South Vietnam, particularly with the early state formation periods, particularly the Funan, which play a very important role in the development of the state in Southeast Asia. You can see many sites of the pre-Oc-El and Oc-El archaeological culture during the first millennium BC to around 2nd to 7th century CE. Yeah, this is what they found in many sites in northern Vietnam and southern Vietnam. For Đông Sơn culture, you can see that this bronze artifact like bronze drum or bronze axe and knives like this has been attracted by the looter or antique dealer in old time. And of course, in one side, we have many things valuable like pottery and many other, but they focus to this. That's why sometimes the people sell it and become the looters. And also the looter try to find this thing. And, in another area, like in southern area, southern side, expose this kind of thing that extract the looter. Of course, this thing found from the archaeological site, but the main thing become the things sold in the markets are the gold or the beads and like this. And the same thing like this we found in archaeological site. And in any case, if the people find, they can choose this thing and they left the like a pottery and other things, and they sold this to the markets. And in one case, when we come and explain to the farmer in one side, they said that, oh, if I understand the meaning of this artifact, like cultural meaning or historical meaning, we will keep it, we will not sell it. It means that many people, when they touch or they found this thing on the side, they never know about the history or cultural value of the thing, and they just think that, oh, it's a gold, and they sold it for the daily life or something like that. And the same happened in the 1940s when many people come to find this thing to sell, because many of them are made from gold, like this one, the ring with the Nandi image like this. And Mallory tried to purchase from the people. That's why he come to know about one famous city in the southern Vietnam. Yeah, so there are many kind of sites appear along the coast. And in the north, you can see that the Vendon pot here, which expose many things like the Chinese ceramic or the terracotta model of the stupa like this. And in case of the knowledge people who know about the ancient pot, who is the hometown, which is the hometown of these people, and they will keep it for memory of their own history. But in many cases, people just think that the thing is sold for money. For example, the ceramic found from the Great Cham seaport in central Vietnam, it has been used as the souvenir, or at first they keep in house for memory of the past before the 1990. But after the 1990, with the development of tourism, and sometimes the people come and try to find this as a souvenir, so it become a type of good to sell in the market. And in South Vietnam, with many things, as I told in the previous slide, you can see that under the rice field like this, the archaeologists found a city. But before the archaeologists come, the people have dig in this area to get gold for selling. And they keep some other things like the statue and worship it in the local pagoda. So it means that when the people not very understand about the history, they just see it as a gold or valuable things to sell for money. Yeah, so we can see that the cultural heritage in general, and particularly underwater cultural heritage, firstly found by the local people. And as I told you that some very proud with the things they understand. For example, this man, very proud that this is the stake found from the battlefield of Bạch Đằng battlefield. This is the site of the victory of Vietnamese to fight with the Mongolian war in the 13th century. And the people in this area, including him, very proud of their history. And when they found this stake, they informed us, and they very happy to work with us to keep this. And in another case, when the people find the like a statue of the god or Buddha, they worship in the small shrine like this. But if the people says that, oh, this is valuable for money, then some people will take it away to sell for money. In another case, for example, these people, they found the cannon on the Thuận An port, Huế, in central Vietnam, and they don't know about the cannon, what's the period, what's the value, and the police come and says that, oh, you take this from the sea, and it is a cultural heritage of the country, and the police may take away and just pay them some money for for their work, and they feel unhappy because they feel that, oh, it can be sold to to the antique dealer with the bigger money. So they just think of the money. They don't know that it is more important to keep this for the display or understand about the past or history. And in another case, when this man, his father found an artifact in the river, they keep in the house for a long time as a kind of memory of the history of the country. Even he don't know very clearly about the period of this thing. Or in many cases, the people reuse the artifact they found from the area, like a boat fragment like this, the ship plank. They reuse it as a watering place in South Vietnam. So in this case, I'd like to show you that the people understand very little about the thing they found. If they understand more about the history, particularly of their homeland, they will be very proud and they want to keep this. And this is a case. Mr. Nguyễn Thi Lien in Vân Đồn International Park, he found many things in this area, and also he got it from the local people who found it, and he keep it in his house. And he shows us, you can see here the picture of an ancient pot that drawn by foreign people, and they copy it, keep in the house, and they keep all the thing in this area. Even they don't know what it is, what it belongs, what periods it belongs. So we can see that many ways they treat to the thing they found. For example, in this case, the people just find out the candle. In general, they don't think this is valuable. And for the antique dealer, they also think that it's no use. So the people from the museum can get it and bring back to the museum to display. But in general, the thing will be sold. For example, the gold will be gold or the ceramic, the complete one like this will be sold to big dealer, for example, in Ho Chi Minh City. Some fragment like this, the farmer or the fisherman will sell it with a very small price, or even throw away. So in this case, one person who very proud of his historical place or his hometown, Mr. Lam Du Seng, he tried to collect this and keep in the house. And even when they found the fishermen found the plank of shipwreck, they want to reuse it for the furniture in the house. So Mr. Lam Du Seng tried to collect it and keep in his house. And he paid them for money, and sometimes he give them another wood to make the furniture. And also the thing has been kept in his house. Of course, many people will not think that this is a good, valuable wood for antique markets. That's why they may sell with like a cheap price. And why there are many looters and also unintentional looters in the area recently, and particularly after 1995. You can see that this is one antique shop in Hội An, in which you can find many artifacts from the shipwreck, like from the Hội An shipwreck. And in another area in Huế, you can see the people sold many things on the streets like this, even the stone tool also, and we don't know where it come from. And in this case, the fisherman who helped us to make a survey in Bình Châu, Quảng Ngãi province, he told us that they found the ceramic in the sea, and they sell it. They sell it for money to pay for the children to go to school. And we try to explain that, oh, please don't sell that. You better keep it and send it to the museum. So your children will learn from that, and they can have a better result of the study. Of course, in some cases it's useful, but in many cases it's very difficult if the people are too poor and they need money. So we have to find another way to help them, and they will help us. for example, to do research, to survey, and show us the area where they found the thing. Yeah, so problem of the many signs that they found the artifact. In general, the people who found the artifact and keep it in the house without the proper conservative treatment, or they just keep the broken one in their house like this. So after some time, everything become bad. For example, the wood like this, or the cost has been damaged heavily, or even one book, we cannot read it now. So almost no information can be kept in this book. Yeah. And another thing is that they cannot record the artifact properly. And even they just keep in their mind that, oh, I found this from this area, I found these things from another area, and not correctly. So what are the solutions for raising awareness and responsibility of the local people? So we try to do something. First, we try to look at the government policy. Yes, the policy have many things to say about how to keep the thing, how to treat the artifact when you find the thing suddenly on the farm or under the water. You can send it to the museum. So the government or the cultural staff will have the award or something, or pay some money for them. But as these people complain, they have been paid with a very small number. And in another case, in northern Vietnam, when they found a very big ship of 17th century, the people get it and pay also very small amount of money, that not enough for paying the worker, because generally the people try to find the thing to sell for money, or even suddenly they found the metal, for example, they will sell it to the people who collect the old thing. And when they try to get it, they pay for worker. And when the government pays them with the smaller money, they will not feel happy, and they will try to find someone who pay more. This is one problem. So this thing in the law of Vietnam is good, but generally it not work everywhere. In some area, and some site important, and some site that has been recognized by the government only. So in some case, for example, the fisherman said that, oh, I not dig it. I just the thing come to my network only. So in that case, we can do nothing. Yeah, and in the degree article 24.3, they also says that it is strictly forbidden to buy and sell relic and antique of illegal origin. So as I tell you that when something come to the fish net of the people, they sold it, and no one can check it illegal or not, have the clear origin or not. And it's very interesting in one case that in Hội An antique shop, you can see that many very beautiful ceramic like this has been sold with the note here written like this. Oh, this is Tudor antique ceramic of 15th, 16th century. And this has...
Sorry, I interrupt. Our duration is almost finished. And it will be very nice if you finish in 1 minute.
Okay, yeah. So we try to contact with the government, with the officer, with the people who protect the coastal area, and with the people, try to explain to them. And we try to contact with the local people and ask help from them and explain the value of things to them, as in this case. And we also try to train people to understand what is the meaning of the underwater cultural heritage, and also the main way to preserve or to propagate it with the NAS training for local people. And also we try to link the people, their tradition with the side of underwater side like this. And recently we try to encourage the people to join in the research and outside conservation, and try to open the reconstruction area and outside conservation for the people to understand more about this. And of course, we also try to talk and to discuss with the leader and manager to find the best way. And more expectation that in Vietnam, underwater archaeology is still in a very first stage, and we lack a lot of things like the researchers and infrastructure and finance. So we expect this thing like closer cooperation between local people, researcher, and authority, and the state investment to this field. And also we think that we need to do more active way of interpretation and promotion of underwater cultural heritage to the public, and so on. And I hope that this way will make people more proud about their history and their underwater cultural heritage. And this is the way that we can protect it better and make it more valuable for people and for researchers. Thank you for your attention. Yeah, so I finished.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. I think because of the time, we should move quickly on to Mariano. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Are you okay to continue?
Yes, of course.
Fantastic. Hakan, are you going to introduce Mariano?
Yes, of course.
Okay, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Actually, he has a very long biography, and I'm just making it quite shorter. Since 2008, Mariano is professor of public international law at the University of Jaun, but his interest on underwater cultural heritage began earlier, still being associate professor at the University of Valencia, when Spain had to face the first judicial international cases against treasure hunters. This coincided with the first project and the beginning of the negotiation, which finally drove to the adoption in 2001 of the UNESCO Convention on the protection of underwater cultural heritage. Mariano holds a doctorate in law by the University of Valencia. Has been visited professor in different universities in Spain, Italy, and France, and also been visited fellow at the University of Cambridge, where he is life member of Clare Hill College. Founder member of the European Society of International Law and member of its board, Mariano is editor-in-chief of the Spanish yearbook International Law since 2013. He is also a consultant scholar of Cultural Heritage Center at Penn University and patron of Spanish National Museum of Underwater Cultural Heritage and member of ICOMOS ICUCH. Thank you. Yes, Mariana, it's your turn.
Yeah, I will share my screen. If you are okay, just let me know if you can see it properly.
Yes, we see in this moment.
Okay. So first of all, thank you to ICUCH and most particularly to Hakan and Chris for the organization of this fantastic series of webinars. And of course, thanks to Hakan for his kind introduction. Thanks also to all of you attending this webinar, this morning, afternoon, or evening. I don't know exactly. For me, it's almost evening. My lecture to this today will be on the in situ rule in the 2001 UNESCO Convention. I make a undertitle as lost in translation, because most of the problems around the in situ rule from a legal perspective in these initial years of the leaving of our convention has created some misunderstandings about the meaning of what does it mean. And we may wonder why these again, why must we still be talking about the in situ rule? Well, in recommendation number 7 of the evaluation of the 2001 convention undertaken by the International Oversight Service, invited the scientific and technical advisory body, the STAB of the convention, to clarify the archaeological concepts of the 2001 convention, such as in situ preservation. This was also said by resolution number 2 of the STAB first extraordinary meeting held in Algiers in 2009, where it was decided to propose to the meeting of the state parties a clarification of certain concepts used by the 2001 convention, such as the ones related to in situ preservation. The same was said in the recommendation of the STAB in 2020 in order to make an examination of paragraphs 37 to 40 of the operational guidelines of the convention, keeping in mind that in the preparatory works of the convention, it was important, the recognition of 2 challenges. The first, the challenge to ensure proper conservation and storage of artifacts recovered from the water, and the importance of the interplay between the site and its context. So there is still doubts about the exact legal meaning of the in situ preservation rule, which needs to be clarified. Even the particular meeting held by the STAB last month of February this year also show that there still remains and some concerns about the extent and the legal meaning of the in situ rule. In my case, and after Martin Mander's excellent presentation from an archaeological perspective in the last session of these webinars, I will try to explain in perhaps a more boring conversation with you the question and the place of the in situ rule from a strict legal perspective. That is, what it is said under this legal perspective in the convention on the in situ rule. Well, as you know, the rule is condensed in Article 2, paragraph 5, and in rule number 1 of the annex. And 2 particular questions have created some concerns in the different authentic versions of the convention. First, the term preservation, and second, the meaning and extent of the idea or the concept of first option. Well, if this is in the English authentic text of the convention, the same could be said in the Spanish authentic text. The term uses preservación, which is quite common, similar to preservation in English, and or but. When talking about first option in the Spanish authentic text, it's said opción prioritaria, which is more or less the same, which is said in the French authentic text, which also use this idea of option prioritaire, but when dealing with the term preservation, it uses the term conservation, conservation. So preservation, conservation on the one hand, and on the other hand, first option, option prioritaire, option prioritaire. But does all these terms mean the same or not? Well, for the correct interpretation of all these terms, we must not forget that the UNESCO Convention is just a treaty, an international agreement. And as such, it is governed by international law, which includes these, the general rules of treaty interpretation. And these rules have been codified in Articles 31 and to 33 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. And then we must use these rules in order to interpret the exact meaning of the in situ preservation rule. How can we do it? Well, if we use Article 33, which deals with the interpretation of treaties authenticated in 2 or more languages, which is our case, do not forget that the UNESCO Convention has been authenticated in 6 different languages, the 6 official languages of UNESCO and of the UN system, including English, French, Spanish, but also Arabic, Russian, and Chinese. Well, in this case, what are the rules to be applied in order to see what is the exact meaning and extent of the in situ rule? Okay, the first rule is that when a treaty has been authenticated in 2 or more languages, they are equally authoritative in each language, unless the treaty provides and agree that in case of divergence, a particular text shall prevail, which is not our case. All and every 6 authentic versions are exactly the same. So there is no prevailing text among the 6 authentic texts, not the English, not the French, not the Russian one. So what to do? Then it is a fiction which says that the terms of the treaty are presumed to have the same meaning in each authentic text. And when a comparison of the authentic text discloses a different meaning, the meaning which best reconciles the text having regard to the object and purpose of the treaty shall be adopted. And I do believe that there is no strong differences between the, at least the 3 authentic texts most used in the convention so far, which is English, Spanish, and French. Does mean that preservation in English, preservación in Spanish, and conservation in French do mean exactly the same. And this is exactly what occurs with the other concern regarding the term first option. First option, it is to be adopted the idea that it does mean exactly the same that opción prioritaria in Spanish, opción prioritaire in French. In Arabic, if I'm not wrong, and if Google Translator is not wrong either, the terms used in Arabic authentic text, it's also preservation and first option, but perhaps those of you native Arabic speakers could correct me. And it could be very good for future involvements on future stakeholders, some feedback from Chinese and Russian versions in order to clarify. But so far, what we can say is that these terms meaning are exactly the same from a legal perspective. I know, for example, that in environmental law, conservation means sustainable use and management of natural resources by and for human beings, while preservation attempts to maintain in their present condition areas of the earth that are so far untouched by humans, aside native people. I'm not sure whether this distinction between conservation and preservation could be translated in or made an analogous distinction in heritage law. But in principle, and so far, for our interest now with regard to the interpretation of this term, conservation on preservation, and first option and option prioritaire, the legal meaning in the convention is exactly the same. Meaning which needs to be checked with the general rule of interpretation endorsed and declared by Article 31 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. Then the meaning to be given to the terms of the treaty in their context, and keeping in mind the object and purpose. These are the rules for a correct interpretation in good faith of the terms of a treaty. And with regard, particularly the question of first option, option prioritaria, option prioritaire, the term option must and shall be interpreted in accordance with the ordinary meaning to be given to this term. And that option is just that, an option. It is not a total or a principle imposing an obligation with no exceptions. It is true that in order to keep in mind the context to interpret these terms, the preamble and the annexes of the convention could be also be kept in mind, and as we have already said, rule number 1 of the annex also points in this direction. It is true that any other agreement relating to the treaty which was made between all the parties in connection with the conclusion of the treaty may also be used for the interpretation, but this is not our case. It is not our case either the existence of any instrument which was made by one or more parties in connection with the conclusion of the treaty and accepted by the other treaties. So it is not useful for us, this rule in Article 31, paragraph 2 of the Vienna Convention. But it is useful for our interpretation from a legal perspective, the subsequent practice in the application of the treaty regarding its interpretation, because no special meaning was given to first option or preservation when the convention was negotiated. But what shows us this subsequent practice, which it is quite limited, but at least may shed some light on the interpretation of the rule. First, we have the operational guidelines, and in the chapter devoted in the operational guidelines, these guidelines in all 3 authentic texts that I'm using, English, French, and Spanish, points in the same direction. But there is a second point of subsequent practice, which is included in the staff evaluation report in the Panama mission in 2015, which particularly address the question of these problems of translation between the English, the Spanish, and the French text in the footnote number 26 of the report. And it says that, and clarifies that there is no contradiction between the different languages' meanings, and that the contextual interpretation of the in situ rule, taking into account in particular the annex, rule 1, but also rules 3 to 5, also goes in this idea of giving the same meaning to the text. And in particular, with regard to the question of first option, it is said in line with what is agreed in rule number 1 of the annex, that states that only in cases in which the scientific removal is considered appropriate, or a better protection or danger of the site, will in situ preservation cease to be the first or priority option. This was said by the staff in this report, and this was endorsed by the meeting of the state parties. So this is subsequent practice, which from a legal perspective helps to clarify the exact meaning of the terms. Let me conclude with some ideas, general ideas. It is true that the rule number 1 of the Annex was not adopted by consensus, but by a wide majority. But regardless of this, in situ preservation is today an archaeologically generally accepted principle by stakeholders, and particularly by the international scientific community. But there are no legal divergences among the different authentic versions of the 2001 Convention, if interpreted in good faith under the international rules of interpretation of the treaties. Third main idea is that in situ preservation is the first option, not necessarily the preferred option always. Alternatives may be imposed by an immediate and severe danger or by a significant contribution to protection, knowledge, or by the enhancement of underwater cultural heritage. So the in situ rule, it is not an absolute principle, could be, and it is the first option, but not the unique option. Actually, it is an option. Because as I said at the very beginning, and Martin Manders in its webinar also said, the question of the in situ rule, it's just to link our past and our future. The context, it was, can we read of what happened yesterday? And to keep it will permit us to have the best knowledge tomorrow of the underwater cultural heritage. So today, we need the in situ option, which is an in situ choice, to permit the context arrive to the future in order to make it as perfect as possible, our knowledge and understanding of the underwater cultural heritage. For these, it is important, of course, the technical advice of the specialist, but also as Lee have just shown in his fantastic presentation on Vietnam underwater cultural heritage and the role to be played by local people, the social involvement is necessary to finally arrive to the political decision on the in situ choice in each particular case. In situ conservation, preservation, I use here, don't panic, the term conservation instead of preservation in order to play with the words, because in situ conservation is an in situ conversation with the site and with the local communities, a continuous conversation in order to keep the context of yesterday for the knowledge of tomorrow. Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much, Mariana. It was a very nice presentation. And you showed that only one word is how much important for us. Thank you again. And if some of us, we should ask some questions, we have several minutes, actually. In my opinion, Chris can ask something.
Yeah.
Ask something. Is that of Mariano or of Lee as well?
Yeah.
Do I have a choice?
Up to you.
Or can I just make a statement linking the two presentations?
Yes, you
Because
can do that. Yeah.
I said at the very beginning that I said that in situ preservation and what Lee has been doing in Vietnam and other people do in different parts of the world it's inextricably linked. And in fact, Martin and myself wrote in the foundation course manual that in situ preservation has become a benediction, in the sense that it's one of our go-to rules. And as Hakan said, it's extremely important, but it's also been a barrier to social inclusion, in the sense that when we preserve something in situ, we, in most cases, are covering it, and it's not so easily to enjoy, for the public to enjoy. So it's become a little cross for us to bear. And particularly the point made by those that would prefer to commercially exploit is that we are preventing the public from enjoying their heritage, and by digging it up as they would like to do, enables the public to enjoy that heritage. Unfortunately, often the case, and what they don't say, is that the heritage that they recover is distributed amongst individuals, and it's not really kept as a collection. And I think the thing that the last slide of Mariano's, which was most impactful, was in situ providing that link between yesterday's knowledge and tomorrow's knowledge. And that is an extremely powerful statement in demonstrating why in situ preservation is so important. And I'm sure if Martin, I don't know whether he's listening, but if Martin was here, it provides you with a breathing point while you decide what you do with the site. And there are many options, and I'm sure Martin and others who have given preservations or management related presentations would make very clear. And I think what is important for people to understand, as Mariano also made clear, is that preservation in situ is only one option. It's our preferred go-to option, but where there are other issues, then it is not the only option by any means. And I think I'm going to repeat something that was said by Thijs Maleveld, is that the science of archaeology is an important component here, and we must not lose sight of that. You know, we must not just bury everything and, you know, use the argument that things are left in situ for future generations. That is not the point here. It's a value judgment, and we make the decisions based on the knowledge we have at a particular point in time about what to do with a site. So that's what I meant by in situ preservation and public engagement, and ensuring the public fully value, but its social and cultural value, its historical, archaeological value, not what it means in terms of an artifact on somebody's shelf that is no longer shared heritage. Thank you. I hope that sort of puts some perspective on the two presentations.
Thank you. Thank you for linking these things, very important, and still many things that we still try to find a way to solve while we work with the people and a specific site.
If there is one more question, probably we have time only for one question. Okay, it seems there is no question. I just want to give some brief information about our YouTube account. These presentations and earlier presentations too are will be ready tomorrow. Actually, earlier presentations are ready at YouTube in Commons iCoach account, and this one also will be ready tomorrow. And thank you again to our both colleagues and our President Chris Underwood. And this is end of the meeting. Chris, would you like to say the end words?
Yeah, thank you, Hakan and Chris, for organize this thing. Yeah, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
And my final words are, we look forward to seeing everybody in next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for being
Okay, Chris. All the best.
Let's see. See you, Dorrit. See you next time.
See you. Chào Mai Hương.